Okay, last week we was on the modification of Shati, right? Right? I said we was on the modification of Shati. We left off on we skipped over Kundalini, so I want to go into Kundalini today. Let's turn this script on. So let's get into the understanding Kundalini, the Kundalini power. A lot of the popular thing about Kundalini is that it's dormant, and it's this mysterious power. In the ancient teachings, preferably in the Hindu and some of the Buddhist teachings, and the Tantra Satra and Mantra Satra, Kundalini is explained very well, and there's a lot to it. It's very deep. But a lot of the detailed information don't get out, or people don't relate to it. And I'm talking about in the popular realms of these metaphysical teachings. So we're going to briefly go into it to highlight the power of Kundalini and how Kundalini actually works. I gave you a couple handouts here, and all these handouts is related to Kundalini. And so let's step back and let's look at it. I'm going to try to make it very simple so everyone can understand it. The origin of Kundalini is Shakti being manipulated and molded by the soul. Your soul is given the job to manifest itself on various levels of existence. The spirit is the I am of all of us. And this is seen throughout all the religions, all the teachings. They refer back to the divine spark of God within all of us as the I am. Even when Moses spoke to the burning bush, he said, he said, Lord, he asked, who shall I say sent me? It said, I am that I am. Meaning that, I am is God, because there's only one life in the whole universe, and that is God. And the I am is a divine spark from God, but still with God. And that's all of us. So the spirit manifests the soul in order to make the journey of involution and evolution throughout the manifested world, because the spirit in God is unmanifested. because it had no beginning and it will have no end. So everything in manifestation has a beginning and has an end, but is absorbed back into the one, into the I am. So the spirit manifests as the soul and is given them the job to move forward and create a vehicle in order to experience the manifested creation that God brought into being. So what does the soul do? The soul quickly builds an auric body for itself, and this auric body will never die. It will never be destroyed. It will only be absorbed back into the spirit and back into the soul, and the soul will be absorbed back into the spirit. So this auric body that the soul builds for itself as a body, then it pulls on the Shakti power that we spoke about last week, meaning that when God, Shiva, spoke the word Vak in Sanskrit terminology, the initial word, and that's in all the Bibles, that God spoke the word and the word was God and creation came about. In the Hindu, they say Shiva released a sound vibration, which is Vak, which is the initial sound vibration, and it releases Shakti, which is absolute power or energy. And this energy went out and created and modified itself in order to build the galaxies, the universe, the galaxies, solar systems, planets, and even life. So in that process, when this Shakti power went out, the soul stepped out and began to modify the Shakti power in order to build vehicles of expression for itself to move through evolution back to evolution, back to the absolute, the Godhead, as some of them call it, right? Because the evolution process had to happen. This is the evolution process. Kundalini is the evolution process, all right? So the soul take this Shakti power, modifies it, push it down through Sushumna, which is in the auric body. And this Sushumna is called, within the center of the Sushumna is the Brahma Nati, right? Sushumna, if you want to locate Sushumna in the physical body, is within the spinal column, okay? But as in your true self, which is actually the auric body, that's the real body that you're going to move from life to life to life to life. As you'll live this life, you'll die. You'll go and you live on the astral or etheric realms for a period of time. You'll die from there, and you'll come back to the physical plane as a baby, and you'll live a whole life. You'll die and go back to the astral planes, and this cycle keeps on until you break that cycle and become a conscious being of the process. But the auric body is the thing that carries you from life to life to life to life through all your different expressions. So the soul pushes the Shakti power through the Sushumna line of force within the auric body, which is a pure, even, whole energy manipulator. When the Shakti power came in there, it was whole. It was all together. It had all the power that's necessary to do anything. And the key word is Shiva, which is the absolute, which is God, has an endless potential of power. And Shakti comes from Shiva and constantly pulls on Shiva, has access to that endless potential of power. So Shakti in the universe is absolute power, because it may not be absolute, but the source in which it pulls from is absolute. It's endless. It has this endless source of power, which is what we call God. So Shakti power, the Shakti power is in its purest manner as it moves down through the Brahmanati, through Shushumna, and within the aura. The aura is pulled on, is built up by the soul. So the soul, when the soul comes in, when the soul builds the aura, it links the auric body to the universe. So all of our auric bodies is linked to the universe. Is layers and layers and layers and layers of the many, we don't know, hundreds of thousands of frequencies of the universe. It's linked to the universe. And thereby, it exists on multiple realms of existence, this auric substance. And the ancient people tell us this through the study of the chakra system. In the chakra system, they list the 7 major chakras along the spine. And each chakra is a realm of existence. And each one of those chakras have sub-realms of existence. And it clearly shows you that in their diagrams, in the ancient diagrams. So the auric body has these floodgates, which is chakras, which is vortex centers, which pulls in substance from the universe. Right, and that's how it maintains it. That's how it maintains itself. When the soul developed or created the auric body, it used the power of the universe, and it gave it the ability to pull on this endless power. Therefore, the auric body is totally you cannot destroy it because it's the body of the soul. It cannot be destroyed. And the soul uses this to move you through creation or through your many reincarnations. Whether you started from an ant and went to a human, or you start from an ant and become a god, you're still the same auric body. It's just working at a different frequency of operation. As simple as that. Now you can't fall back. If you did start from an insect level, you cannot go back to an insect because the auric body becomes too intense. It builds on itself. It doesn't go backwards. You always go forward. So the myth of you can be a human this life and be a dog next life is ridiculous. That's not in the teachings. You're always moving forward. So this auric body, as the soul uses it in order to build human life, or another word is to engross a part of its consciousness so that it can experience things on the lowest level. And by pushing the Shakti power down through Shushumna, down to the lowest point of conscious or basic consciousness, it brings about a human experience in the base and the root chakra. When the Shakti power gets there at the Muladhara chakra, which is the base of the spine, the root chakra, what happens at that point, it goes into a 3.5 knot configuration. And that's what we call Kundalini. And what actually happens is this Shakti power becomes Kundalini at that point. Because why? It reveals its Shiva. Okay? It reveals its God-like ability to go dormant. And it becomes the background play for our human existence. Okay? Shiva, when we go back and look at the universe, Shiva or God or the Absolute is the background for everything. Everything pulls on Shiva. Everything pulls on God, whether we realize it or not. You know, it is if I was standing up to the chalkboard creating stuff, I'm using the chalkboard. So the chalkboard is the background. I'm using the chalkboard in order to express myself. What we do in life, we use the power of God in order to express ourselves. Throughout the universe, the sun uses God. The planets uses God. The solar systems use God. Everyone pulls on God to express itself, no matter what position you are within the universe. So this is what the Hindus, when they discovered these teachings, they realized this, and they realized that Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness for the soul. So the soul had to create a system within its auric fields in order to pull on this Shiva power, in order for the basic part of itself to pull on the Shiva power. So it molded this Kundalini into the 3.5 knot, the Shakti power into the 3.5 knot, creating this power of Kundalini. And when it did that, over 90% of the power of Kundalini went dormant. And then it released the sound, the same way God released the sound. It released the sound, and this sound went out and began to formulate consciousness. Now, nothing happened without consciousness. Absolutely nothing. There's no movement without consciousness. Sound is a expression of consciousness. Everything makes a sound. Every single thing. Everything. The chair you're sitting in has a sound vibration. A piece of paper has a sound vibration. Everything has a sound, and scientists know this now. They know that everything has a particular frequency to it, right? And everything has a emission. So it has a frequency. So what the sound, the ancient tantric Satra teachings taught us that everything, or within the human existence, they call it the 4 states of sound. And they said this sound, this Kundalini, if we go back to the sound, they say the Kundalini goddess releases a song. And then they describe the 4 states of this sound. And I gave that to you here in this document so that you can see the details of it if you really want to go into it. And the first sound is a soundless sound. It's a parasound. The first sound is a parasound. It's a soundless sound. And this parasound moves out, and it comes from the base of the spine. It passes over, it goes through the sex center, and it goes to the solar plexus center, where it modifies again. Now, the parasound moves. In other words, it releases this power, and what it does, it allows the whole to become not whole, in a sense, which what happened through the configuration of the Shakti power. And what we have time is brought about, in a sense, which they call samsara, with the configuration of this Kundalini. You have past, present, and future brought about, and beyond, which is what we have to get back to. So because before then, the soul, using this auric body and the Shakti power, it had full awareness. Because as the soul brings the Shakti power into the auric body, it uses the Shakti power as a Shakti consciousness. And it was all aware of the universe. Because why? The auric body is what? Connected to the universe. So it was all aware. So in order to break this all awareness, it pushed the Shakti power down to the solar plexus. To the solar plexus, to the sex center, all the way down to the base center, in order to bring about basic consciousness, where over 90% went dormant, and now this confusion, this state of Maya, comes about. The great illusion come about. And all of a sudden, now you see the now as past, present, and future. You can't see the now as whole. You can't see everything at once. You see it in segments. Your consciousness is limited. So at that point, the background becomes the dormant part, and the other part, of which is maybe 2%, 3%, some people might be lucky to have 5%, it becomes the vehicle of consciousness. And then that sound is released, the nadis is formed. The nadis means a flow of power. That's what the nadis mean. It's a flow of power. And it's a flow of power that's been split up. And now you have a mental flow of power, which is a negative flow of power, and you have a vital flow of power, which is a power for energy to build on. But the mental part of the power actually controls the vital part of the power, which is the consciousness. When you cross the two, you have real consciousness. And what happened, these nadis, they come up from the Kundalini as sound vibrations. These 4 states of sound actually creates a matrix that allows for consciousness to be experienced throughout the physical body, the astral body, the mental body, the aura. It brings a basic level to your aura. So now you're not aware of the universe. You're not aware of total existence. You're only aware of a segment of your existence, which is this small little segment, which builds a superconscious mind, a conscious mind, and a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. And these nadis, which we estimate to make up 242,000 pathways, they intersect with the vortex centers or the chakras, or the major chakras along the spine. And that's how we experience this basic form of consciousness. That's how we experience it. And within the chakra, you have this, again, a chakra, which most people fail to realize, is a series of subtle sound vibrations. When you look at a chakra, when you look at the symbols of the chakra, the first thing you notice is the mantra in the center of the chakra. they have a little mantra there. They have a little Sanskrit mantra written there. Each chakra has a major mantra. And then on the outside of the chakra, you have what they call petals. Everybody heard of the chakra petals or the lotuses, right? Those lotuses is another sound vibration, which is actually, when you translate it, it's a seed mantra. What is mantra? Mantra, the word mantra means a sound vibration. You know, that's what it is. So what you have is this major sound that extends from the chakra, right? Which in the chakra is what is called a bindu. A bindu point. When you translate bindu point, it translate to, when you translate bindu, it actually means point, but when you translate it, it means a spiritual germ or a point of consciousness, right? And that is where the soul interplays, the soul and the spirit interplays with the vortex center of that chakra, of that auric body, and tap you into the universe, the solar system. So you have these nadis that come through, and what they do, they actually thread themselves through one of the sound vibrations, which is the petals. This which is the seed mantras, because when the big sound comes out, what happens, it creates the petals. It creates the smaller sounds that relates to it. And the nadis thread themselves through those petals. And when they thread themselves through the petals, they create segments of consciousness. And that's how we have the 3 or 4 layers of consciousness. The fourth layer, the highest layer of consciousness is the consciousness of the soul. Because the soul builds itself a supra consciousness, and then the super consciousness is built, the subconscious is built, and then the conscious mind is built. So as these nadis thread itself through there, through each chakra, it creates a segment of consciousness throughout the body. Now, most diagrams or most of knowledge on the chakras only mention the 7 major chakras. There's actually 108 chakras within the body. 108 chakras, and these 242,000 nadi pathways thread themselves through all 108 chakras. You have a question?
Yeah. Does each petal have a positive and negative?
Yes. Yes.
And that corresponds to Ida and Pingala?
Yes. Each petal and each chakra is actually a balanced chakra. So it has positive and negative to it. Yes.
So does that mean there's actually 8 at the base, or just
No. That doesn't mean that. It means
that each petal has a positive negative.
It has a positive negative.
Okay.
But for our for us to understand it, they talk about the direction in which the nadis travel. They say the Ida nadis travel to the left, and the Pingala nadis, which is the Vita nadis, travel to the right. But of course, you know, it's not it's not that simple. Mm-hmm. You know, it can travel to the left by 2 or 3 millimeters. you know. But that's what they talk about. But you always need a positive and negative in order to, in order to bring about, to express consciousness. So yes.
I have a question online about power sound.
The what?
I have a question online about power sound. It says power sound or soundless sound is soundless to human detection or all in any detection?
It sounds to what?
Is power sound soundless only to human hearing, or is it soundless to all type of detection?
It's a subtle soundless sound. It's more of a creative vibration than a sound. But it's related to sound because it molds and shapes energy. So that's why they related to sound, so that we can understand it. But it's a vibration. So you have different levels of sound. You have sound that lays out the frequency matrix, right? And then you have sound that helps create first movement of the Shakti and the mind energy, right? Then you have that layer of sound that brings meaning to that, to that soundless sound and to the first movement of the sound. And then you have the sound, the fourth aspect of the sound that amplifies the whole thing and allow it to translate itself between the realms, between the physical realms of all the realms. You understand what I'm saying? So let's say at your base chakra and your sex chakra is it's the place where most of us exist right now, our consciousness. And you can look at our science around and you'll see that all our science is rough, is hard, right? And it has a polarity. It has male and female on everything, right? In order to pull on energy. And it takes raw material and does what to it?
Breaks it down.
It breaks it down, extract energy from it in order to place the energy somewhere else. So that's where we live. We live in that, and probably in the solar plexus, in the base of the spine, sex center, and solar plexus. That's where our consciousness is right now. As our consciousness move up to the higher levels, we would do things in a more sensitive manner, and we will try to blend in with nature more than just destroying nature everywhere, right? So that's the way it actually operates. And if you notice that also, the lower realms actually start is within those chakras. We have the astral realms, the lower realms, exist at those levels too. Now, what they call the lower astral realms or the hells exists from the base of the spine down, because you have chakras in the legs as well, and you have those astral realms highly populated, in the astral worlds. But only thing you have to do is just look how the ancient texts describe these realms of existence as it correlates to the chakras, and look at our science today and look how our science developed, how we built our environment, because the environment is built from those mental levels. In other words, if you understand that every time you think a thought, that thought is projected from one of your chakras. So if you're having high elevated thoughts, it's probably being projected from your heart chakra and maybe a little above. Or even maybe from your solar plexus chakra and a little above. But if you're having low base thoughts, if someone was to look at your aura, they'll see the thought formation release from your aura from the lower chakras, right? Because every time you have a thought, you release that thought into the atmosphere. And your chakras are the one that release that thought form. So it's all based on your aura. Your aura is like a Devic lavatory almost.
Does positive, negative refer to electromagnetic energy?
We're talking about subtle energies. Everything relates back to, everything is built on this subtle energy. Everything relates back to the subtle energy. I mean, in other words, like I keep saying, the nadi system is a matrix, and it's a background for everything else. Once the nadi system is created, then the mental bodies can be created, right? And then the astral body can be created. And in the astral body, you have skin, you have circulatory system, you have a nervous system, the same way we have here. Your physical body is a copy of the astral body, and of course the auric body, right? Because the mental play is there. If the auric body wasn't there, then the physical body can't exist, the astral body can't exist, the etheric body cannot exist. So all of it is a play, and energy, the same thing with energy. The energy, the electromagnetic energy within the atmosphere is related to the energy within the aura, because why? What does the aura do? The aura pulls on what? It pulls on the electromagnetic spectrum in order to exist. The same way your physical body pulls on the electronic magnetic spectrum in order to do what? Exist. You cannot exist without. So all of it is related. You know. Another thing here is that the sun releases energy. The ancient people call this energy Tavic rays. They call it Tavic rays. And they say these Tavic rays are released to the solar system. The earth collects 360 Tavic rays and deposit these 360 Tavic rays into the auric body via the chakras. And they specifically say how many Tavic rays go within each chakra. Right? The base chakra receives, I think, 56 Tavic rays. The sex chakra receives 64 Tavic rays, and it goes on and on and on and like that until it builds up to 360 Tavic rays. What is these Tavic rays? These Tavic rays is actually a vessel that regulate the patterns of energy coming from the sun. That's all what it is. And it helps build the realms of existence that we live in. Science tells us that the sun is, that the energy of the everything in manifestation is solidified sunlight. And that's exactly what it is. Because why? You use the energy from the sun in order to build matter of all sorts. If we take matter on every level, we'll see that it's related back to the sun. Because without the sun, that matter cannot exist. You know, yeah.
What happens, you were talking about the thoughts being released in different chakras depending on the height of the thought, I guess. What happens then once that thought's released?
Can you repeat the question?
What happens when the thought is released from the chakra? Where does it go?
It builds your communities. It builds your atmosphere. You know, all of us add to the world. So if you send out negative thoughts, you build on the negativity of the world. If you send out positive thoughts, then you build on the positivity of the world.
So are you
So-
saying there's reciprocity so that positive thoughts will
Yeah, it's the same way the negative thoughts come back to you. It's the law of attraction again. So in other words, I don't know if you, when I used to travel, the first thing I would do when I'm driving up to a town, I look at the town, and the thing that got me all the time is the aura around the town. Every town have a particular aura to it. And as I'm driving to the town, I'm looking at it. Some auras of the towns look real bad, so I just drive right through. I don't stop. I go to the next town for my gas or whatever, because and then some towns are very beautiful and have this lovely feeling and whatever, especially in country towns, believe it or not. And because why? They have this hospitality type thing, but it's always a segment in that town that you look and it's this ugly aura somewhere. But the majority of it is good, But and it's the same way when you go to places where you purchase stuff at. You walk into a place and the first thing you get a bad vibe, because the aura in that place is just not right. The collective consciousness that's been left there, the residue of the collective consciousness is not right. So you leave. You don't want to be there, And it's like that with everywhere because the earth has an atmosphere, right? It has a physical atmosphere. It also has a mental atmosphere. It has an astral atmosphere. It has an etheric atmosphere. So and it has an energy atmosphere, and we build upon that. And the energy responds to mind. It responds to mind. So we create our own destiny. We create our own atmosphere, and we allow other people to help create it for us too. Because if we accept people into our lives or into our space, then they're going to add whatever they come with to it. And then now you're sharing their karma in a sense. So it's very important to watch out who you hang with and who you allow into your home or into your environment, because some people can help destroy your environment, So where are we now? Now, we kind of talked about this, the levels of consciousness works within the auric envelope and its magnetic layers within the auric field. And we talked about the floodgates. The floodgates are the chakras or the vortex centers of energy that it pulls on. The Kundalini makes all of this possible. All of these are different energy configurations of Kundalini. Because the Kundalini power pulls on this in order to help build the body in which we're in, if you can understand that. See? You have the pure Shakti power that we talked about. You have the cosmic nata power, which is a sound vibration that runs through the whole body. You have the governing Shakti principles, which is wisdom, mind, prana, and love energy. Love energy is a preservative energy. The only reason why you can live from age 1 to whatever is because of that preservative love energy within the body. Okay? And love energy is a universal energy, it's a cosmic energy. And they call it, in ancient, they call it Amanda in Sanskrit. And it's one of the main principles of Shakti power. Now, if we go back and just read the old text, it says that we live by the what?
Grace.
By the grace of God, right? And that love energy is the grace of God, because God determines the cycles of the universe. And we're part of the universe. So that preservative energy in nature is this love energy that they talk about. And it's the highest and the greatest energy in the universe is love. And love energy has a particular character about it. And it's very dangerous too. Pure love energy. If you love something, you want to what? You want to preserve that. You don't want it to go anywhere. You want it to be there. But how love energy work on a metaphysical level is that if you send pure love to something, and that thing or person resists that love energy bounces off, multiplies itself by 4, and goes back and then if that person resists it again, it bounced off, and now it was just 1, it's 4, and it multiplies itself by 4 again. So now it's 4 times 4. So it's going back at 16 to the 1. And it keeps doing that until it breaks through. So what happens? The person either accept the love or they cease to exist. That's the power of love. Because love energy, another thing they tell us that love energy never fails. The love of God never fails. And the reason why those statements was made is because they were describing this energy, this very, very powerful energy. And you can see it if you go back and reflect on your life. You can see when someone really, really exhibit this love unknowing to themselves to someone, it can destroy the other person who don't want it. You know, their whole life go into turmoil because this person is exhibiting this love, and sometimes they don't know. On a basic level, it works on a basic level the same way it works on a higher level. You know, this pure love energy, or even basic love energy. You notice the confusion that comes about when you love or possess someone. There's so much confusion in the relationship. It's, you know, until you get on the same path. So.
What about like hate? Because if you send out the vibration of hate, as you're saying, love, it multiplies until it either breaks through or destroys it.
Hate doesn't work like that. Hate is an energy of fear and ignorance. You know, hate is built on ignorance. It doesn't work. It doesn't have that same power of love. What hate will do, hate will deteriorate you from inside, because it creates disease in the thing that exhibits the hate. You know, it doesn't bring about mental clarity like love do. Love bring about a sense of mental clarity. Hate does the exact opposite. It brings about ignorance, it brings about fear, it brings about paranoia, it brings about all these other things, all these negative components to it. And you can test it. You can try to exhibit hate or whatever. You'll notice how it's hard to breathe. The first thing will happen, you have these grasshopping thoughts. You can't control your thoughts. It just goes in and out. I mean, you'll fall up and down in all these negative thoughts and negative feelings until a point where you begin to feel it physically. You know, and
The other person, like if I'm directing negative thoughts towards someone, does that person
speak into
feel
the
it,
thing.
or- Oh.
because there's people online.
Oh, so if you're directing negative thoughts towards a person, such as hate or another negative emotion, is that person? Do they feel it, or can they resist
yes, they
it?
can feel that. Yeah, there's techniques in various what they call black magic, voodoo, the evil side of voodoo. There's a good side of voodoo too, but there's an evil side of voodoo. There's techniques of this or black magic that you can project evil thoughts to a person in order to hurt them. you know, and you can enchant certain foods, and you can go to a person's house and you can enchant. In fact, in Wicca, they have this stuff too, where you go and you take certain objects and you feel those objects, because every object has a mind field around it. So, and it's more mind and space in that object than actually gross matter. And science tell you that. Only reason why things seem to be hard is because how the electrons spin. They spin so fast that it makes it look like it's hard, but it's not. There's more space there than anything. So, you know, that's why you can dry something out and make it real small, take up less space, because you pull the water and air out of it. But you can actually take that object, fill that object with a certain mind, a certain negative mind, and then what a lot of people in this Wicca world would do, they'll go and bury it. You know, then the negative Wiccas, because you have good Wiccas to make point of that, they will bury it around that person's house in order to bring about this minefield of, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it, but that's what they would do. And what would happen, it'll project this minefield around and cause negativity in the person's life. Also, if they real close with a person, they'll take it and they'll put it up under their bed and have them have these terrible dreams that will go from the dream world to the sleep world to the waking world, and now this person's life is in confusion. But the thing about that, on the other side, there's spiritual techniques that if you practice every day, it will build a resistance to this. And what will happen when that person send that stuff out to you, the energy will automatically go back to the sender. And whatever they was trying to do to you, it will begin to happen to them. So it bounces back to them. You know, so it's, yes, the mental, you can project negative mental thoughts to a person, which the thing, it makes you vulnerable, because there's nothing you can do to stop it when it comes back to you. And you take on that person's karma. You what?
If you send out negative energy, I had heard that when you send out negative energy, that and if there's a destruction that's involved, that the person who's sending it out can receive then the karma of the person that they've
Oh, you're going to
destroyed.
receive that anyway. But what I'm saying, if the person is aware that you're sending it to them and they screen themselves for it, it's going to multiply on back to you probably worse than what than what it would have did before. You know. So because that person have reflected that back to you. Yeah, yeah.
I have a question related to auras. So just kind of like in places where you sense bad auras, or particularly with people, and this idea, like if you do sense that, and I'll use a personal example. So there's people in my day-to-day life who I encounter who I don't feel like it's the healthiest aura. Like it's like a gut feeling that I have. I don't see auras, but just instinctually something feels very off. What would you recommend doing for that? Like, should we send love out to those people?
Yes, that's a good thing, to send love out to them.
But also maintain a distance, or?
It depends on what you want to do with that person. If you want to help that person, as long as you're aware, the minute you become aware, then there's a resistance brought up with you too. It's just how long you can, you might have to limit your time with the person, but I wouldn't say just to totally avoid the person. I would immediately bring down a white or violet colored light down through the top of my head, and I send it out to that person, and I bless that person. Ask God to let me be the vessel to allow that person to receive, healing or whatever they need, upliftment, mental upliftment, physical upliftment. Then when I go home that night, I take a few minutes out again to sit back and send that energy out to that person and see that person radiated with all this great spiritual love and see them getting better and whatever. And if I can talk to that person, I talk to them too.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a number of things you can do. You just don't totally avoid them, but you want to help people. Because really, our main job here on earth is to serve.
Yeah.
It's not to just take. Although most of us, that's what we do. We take and don't really give back consciously.
Thank you.
So these are all the configurations of Kundalini. Because this Kundalini power, as it creates the nadi system, and it gives, and the nadi systems lays the infrastructure to allow a mental body to be built, or mental aura to be built within the auric body, and then it also allows for a play of energy to the pranic body, and then it allows for an etheric subtle body, which is the body of the higher chakras, and then it allows for an astral body, the body of the lower chakras, and then it allows for a physical body to be formated. So all of this is how the body is a form. And even this is done even through pregnancy. Because the difference with the pregnancy is that the auric body exists already. Now you only have to add the physical body and the astral body of that person in most cases. So of course, a male and female comes together in order to bring a child into the world, and then naturally, once the process have completed itself, the female body have the ability to naturally pull on the Kundalini power and raise a portion of the Kundalini power to at least the solar plexus center, and then pregnancy happen for 9 months or whatever, or so many 40-some weeks, and then a baby can be brought into the world through the Muladhara chakra and the sex chakra. See, and that's the way it works, and that, in fact, that's why in the Hindu and the Buddhist faith or religion, they say that a female is closer to God than a male. So and that's why they name so many things behind the female. In fact, the Kundalini power is a female power. It's not a male power, it's a female power. When you look at the ancient symbols for Kundalini, you'll see that it's Kali. It's a female, So, but it's getting late, so we've been here for hours. Is there any other questions? We can finish this up next week and go more into the diagrams, because I didn't get to how this Kundalini power is used to develop psychic abilities, how the techniques that's used for that. Yeah.
Is the Kundalini power, is it just through, just through your root chakra? Where does the Kundalini
The
power?
Kundalini is throughout the whole body. Okay, remember, the massive Kundalini comes down and it goes down to the Muladhara chakra, and 90% of it, over 90% of it, is located at the root chakra. And then through the sound vibration, a percentage is pushed out through the whole body. and all of that begins to be regulated through the nadi systems. In other words, you have an energy. You have three major energies in the body. You have the Kundalini energy, you have the prana energy, and you have the mind energy. Those are the three major energies in the body, right? And the nadi systems, the nadi system, which we could say a lot more about the nadis later, the nadi systems regulate that energy. It regulates that energy. So you have Kundalini. You cannot think a thought without Kundalini. You can't blink an eye. You can't wiggle a finger. You can't hear. You can't see. You can't smell. You can't speak without Kundalini. In order to speak, you use the power of Kundalini, and you use chakras. You use several chakras in order to speak. And that's the Kundalini being fired through those chakras to allow you to speak. Because what you're doing, you're actually taking this mind energy that travels 4,000 times the speed of light, and you're bringing it down and you putting it into sound, which moves very, very slow. So it is the Kundalini power and the chakras that allow you to break that down and amplify it at the level or produce or express it at the level that we do through speech versus mental. Because you can think 4,000 words in a matter of seconds, but you can't speak 4,000 words in a matter of seconds. So there's a process there that allows you to do that. Yeah. But what we're going to do, we usually say a prayer. I give everybody a mudra. A mudra yoga is in yoga. You know what mudras are in yoga? A mudra is a hand sign and a body position. But what we do, we pray in a certain way. We pray, and this is one of the mystic prayer methods. You put your feet slightly apart. You use this mudra right here. And you place the thumb inside there, and you breathe in and out, and you imagine that the brilliant white light is coming down through the top of the head and it's building up in the body. And you allow this energy to build up. After a while, you'll begin to feel the energy come through. And the reason why you want to hold your hands, because you don't want to activate any one of the chakras. And as you get that energy built up, you hold your hands up like this is another mudra position. And you have a major psychic center in the center of the hand. And you have minor psychic centers in this part of the fingers. In fact, all through the fingers. But you want to push the energies from here and from here, from the tips of your fingers. And you imagine as you begin to say the prayer, make sure it's a balanced prayer. It's a prayer for good, not for bad. And you push the energy out of the heart chakra and the palms of your hands and the fingertips. And as you say the words, you imagine that the energy is being released and going out to make that happen. And you face the east when you do this. This is the east. And when you finish the prayer, you cut the energy off, because if not, you'll drain your body for the rest of the day. And then you say to yourself, so it is done. But you whisper it so that a person next to you cannot hear you. You whisper, so it is done. And that ends the prayer, because you want to cut off the mental visualization, the mental energy drain. You want to cut that off by saying, so it is done. Because when you whisper, you affect the mental world. When you speak out loud, you affect the physical world. And when you have a pure thought, you affect the psychic world. The only way you can have a pure thought is by taking the tongue and mobilizing the tongue by rolling the tongue up in the mouth and pressing it against the root of the mouth so it cannot move while you think. So let's go ahead and and end this prayer.
Okay. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. And I got all of your questions and emails and comments about the notes. I am behind on that as usual, but I'll get everything up this week. Take care.